Jazzcast Pros.
As we are entering the new year, many of us have big goals and dreams and aspirations of things we want to accomplish this year. And, if one of your goals is to lose weight, instead of trying to work harder in the gym, what if all you had to do was work less? In today's conversation with Rena, we talk about the signals her body was giving her to reassess her work life balance. And now she wears all her hats in a much more harmonious way, leading to peace and stability and potentially even some weight loss. Welcome to High Vibe Table Talks, the podcast to help you, the current or aspiring solopreneur, navigate the messy middle so you can make both an income and an impact. Hi, I'm Rashawn, and I love creating safe spaces for women to be courageous in their dreams. After spending a decade working in sales for a startup and talking with hundreds of other women entrepreneurs, I know it can be lonely, but you can do this. We are having impactful conversations with people walking similar paths to you, so pull up a seat. This is High Vibe Table Talks. I'm very excited for today's guest, Rena Duell. So thank you so much for joining us today, Rena.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We have so much to dive into today, and I know that the audience is going to take so much from your expertise and what you help your clients with. But can you tell us first a little bit about kind of who you are, where you're located, and then who you currently serve?
So, as you said, I'm Rena Duell. I am a business coach with One Team Partners. I work with female solopreneurs and small business owners who are really wanting to guide their businesses in a very purposeful way without burning out.
Mm-hmm. Especially this time of year. I know that this interview will come out after the holidays, but as we're recording it, we're about a week away from Christmas, and then we get into New Year's, and we're just kind of getting over Thanksgiving. So burnout and being enough and having to do all the things is very top of mind this time of year.
Yes.
But what I would love to start out with is, did 8-year-old Rena aspire to be an entrepreneur or a solopreneur? Kind of like what led you into the journey of entrepreneurship?
Ooh, little me, no, did not think along those lines at all. Mm-hmm. I feel like I kind of fell into it. So obviously the company I'm with now, we are a team of 5, but I did have my own business, for 25 years up until working in coaching now. But for me, when I started my business, I was working 3 jobs and I had a young child, and I was trying to figure out how do I spend more time with my child and yet provide all that kind of stuff. And so I kind of landed in the events entertainment space. And it was one of those things where someone was like, I have to do this thing at a convention, want to join. And so it was like, okay, here I go. And then it was kind of like, okay, I can do this. And I think I can do it better than what I saw here. And so it kind of grew on that. And for me, like I said, I was young. I hopped into the work and I was excited with all the newness and all the challenges, but I really also did not have the work experience and anything to really ground myself. Like I said, I was coming from 3 jobs. I was used to just going full barrel all the time.
Yeah.
And I took that in like I wanted to be able to spend more time with my family, but then I have to be working whenever I'm not with my daughter. And so I was always switching and never switching off from work. So it was like, get up, work, and then get my daughters up and off to school, then back to work, then get them from school, do dinner, get them to bed, and then back to work.
Yeah.
But work was always cycling, and it eventually started affecting my health, like all the stress that I was carrying and not putting that work down and not taking a pause to look around and be like, okay, is there a better way to do this? I just thought I just have to keep doing this. You think the solution is just to keep working harder, and it's not. You need that pause.
Yeah. Something that a subconscious thought that frequently goes through my brain and a lot of the women that I work with is if I just work harder, I'll get to where I want to be faster. If I just do more, that end goal will come faster. And that comes at a detriment of so many other aspects of our lives. And at the end of the day, it's not true. Like, we suppress so much and create so much more tension and friction and stress with that mentality. And I think it's connected to the scarcity mindset that a lot of us carry around. And so if someone is juggling their constant to-do list while also wanting to hold that idea of slowing down, what would you tell that person?
Number one, to take the pause, take the beat and assess what is your primary focus. Because that's also the thing. We think having a priority is having these 5 priorities. Mm-hmm. And so you're trying to do it all. And it's peeling it back. How do I accomplish one priority? And then how do I keep creating meaningful progress towards that in a way that isn't just busy work, right? Which is really easy to fall into. I can stay busy, but get nowhere.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I think once we're really dialed in on where it is you're trying to go and what you feel are the next steps to get there, just have to keep marching forward in that direction and then balancing out the needs to get done and really assess them objectively, right? Because yes, I do literally need to sit down and pay my vendors and do those things are always going to be there. But where are you spending the majority of your time? Is it on the right part of your business that you're spending it?
And what would you say, because I think there can be, especially in the kind of patriarchal society and kind of post-industrial society that we have is if I'm not at my desk from 8 to 5, then I didn't give enough. I didn't do enough. And so how do we slowly start to change that? I think, first is an awareness that we even have that, but then what are the slow, small changes someone can make to release some of those thoughts that we have?
I think it starts with boundaries and really getting conscious of where your boundaries are slipping. And sometimes we still fall into that historically mom mind, right? I'm supposed to take care of the house and the kids and work, right? And it's am I really sharing the efforts of this, right? I understand I'm perhaps home working from the kitchen table, but does that mean I'm the one who gets called for my child's every sick day and stuff like that? Or is there some balance with a partner? If there's a partner there that you can, take that weight off of, but then really trying to enforce the boundaries that you set up to protect your work time so you can let it down when you do move to the other elements of your life. You don't want to carry everything all the time.
Yeah. I think boundaries is such an important topic that we hold to. In some of your kind of online stuff, I saw that you connect boundaries and sleep. And so I saw some through lines of keeping boundaries and the importance of sleep as an entrepreneur. And so can you tell me more about why that is something that is a topic that you talk about and find importance in working with solopreneurs?
Sleep is foundational. We don't have anything without our health, right? I think health is where everything starts. And sure, is my health completely perfect? And obviously not. But when I look at it through the lens of what can I control, how do I take care of myself and my body and my mind? It starts with sleep because my body cannot take care of itself. My mind cannot be productive and focused and be present without that sleep. And so sleep is essential. It starts there. And I know not just solopreneurs, but I think everyone on the planet, sleep is the first thing we sacrifice so many times. And we really have to pay attention to the impact that has on our days. And it can feel small, but it really is taking us out of the productivity of our work. Like if we're staying in that work lens, like if I want to get further with my business, I got to take care of myself first.
Mm-hmm.
So then number one, you find that you have to put less effort and time to still get your results that you're looking for, as long as you can bring your whole self. And if your whole self is being taken care of, you're setting yourself up for that success.
Yeah. I find that a lot of women that I work with, they are trying to help a previous version of themselves. You know, they're a little bit further along down. They've either like gone through something and struggled with something, and now they're on the other side of it and they want to help that previous version of themselves. And I saw in some of your content, you talk about how your breakdown was your breakthrough. And so it feels like there are some things that you're talking about that you have been there through on this journey. So can you tell us about like your kind of messy middle, or maybe some of these like boundary and sleep and all these things you now implement and use with other women entrepreneurs that like, I'm talking because I've been there. Like I'm not just, you know, on a pedestal for no reason.
Totally. As I was saying earlier, I did not know how to turn off work. And I also had work that made me travel a lot. So when I was home, I wanted to be available and my kids were available, but then worked every other minute around that. I did not realize the wear and tear it had on me, but I started having lots of health issues. I had weight gain and hair loss. I had debilitating migraines. I was getting tested for random stuff. And I had never heard of this before, but started getting anxiety gagging, which is a weird, ridiculous thing and would of course happen in the most unfortunate moments. But it got to a point where all that's happening, as well as my own resentment towards my work was growing. With the health stuff coming up, I eventually I couldn't ignore it. It was, literally staring me in the face. And so I did a very abrupt shut the doors. I need to take a second. I need to reassess what's going on with myself. Where did I go wrong? Because I didn't even see, like, you don't catch yourself ending up, like it was never a conscious choice to land right here.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you have to then, like, where did I go wrong? How do I get back on track? And for me, that is how I found what I did now. Like when I was working, I feel like mentally and internally, I was just like heads down, work, just churning. I did not know business coaches were out there. Mm-hmm. I did not know there was help for me. I felt so isolated as a solopreneur. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to find a way on how I could be that help that I wanted. And the first thing I tell the solopreneurs that I'm working with is you intentionally have to find a thought partnership or just a community, something, to not be isolated in your business, whether it's a friend group, whether it's a women's group, a mastermind. Go someplace where you can unburden yourself, where you can bounce ideas off, help find solutions, hear different perspectives. I think that's so important.
Yeah. Because I think that especially as solopreneurs, like this is our baby. This is our thing. Like this is our creative endeavor. And that creates, and I'm sure as a mother, you have felt this too, of like, when there's a mistake in my business, that there's something wrong with me. When my child makes a mistake, then I attach my ego to it. And I think that has been my biggest learning space as a mother, is like detaching my ego from my child's experience. And like my goal is to like shepherd them through life, like tell them this is what you do, this is what you do. Like it's like, here are opportunities, here are safe spaces for you to go and explore yourself. But as an entrepreneur, I think it's very similar of like my identity isn't the same thing as
Yes.
the identity of my business. And so I think there can be a lot of shame that can get wrapped up when our business fails or we hear no or we do struggle. And so do you have any tips on, releasing some of that shame or negative stories that our brain tells itself?
I think it starts with awareness, because sometimes we're hearing that, but we're not really hearing it, right? Like we're just feeling it.
Whatever do you mean? That's never happened to me ever.
We don't hear that we're actually talking to ourselves in such a negative light.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to, my brain's going in multiple places at once, what to talk about first. You're right. We have to separate our identity. And I think we have to come to terms and accept, and perhaps it's an individual definition of what being an expert is. Because when we're running our business, every decision is on us. I'm supposed to be the expert at what this is, this product, this service, and I'm supposed to know every business answer. All decisions are on me. And that is so much pressure. And we have to realize, like, at one team, we say expertise is never the goal. It's a lifestyle. It's a choice to always be curious and always be striving to learn. So it isn't about knowing it all. It's about knowing what you don't know and knowing that you can either find answers, learn more, or just figure it out. I think that's one thing solopreneurs are really good at, is just being like that scrappy, I'll figure it out. Like the figurative duct tape, I'll figure something out. Yeah. But we have to be willing to take chances. That also comes into the play of not being afraid to fail and knowing that to drive progress, we have to stay in action. And if we can stay in that productive mindset, it keeps our mind marching forward. Like if I'm focusing on what I can control, I'm like, okay, whether it's a problem, whether it's a decision, okay, what can I control in this situation? It keeps you productively thinking, okay, here's what I can control. Here are my options. Next step is this. If I succumb to whether it's defeatism, like I'm not going to get this, I cannot figure this out, I'm done for, our brain can't be productive and thinking creatively when it's in that frame, right? It's shutting down. So as soon as we can catch ourselves doing that and be like, okay, there's always a choice. There's always an option in front of me. It starts with that, because I think we have to learn that we can lean on ourselves. And I think we do hear a lot about reframing failure. And I really wish there was a different word, because sometimes it feels really hard. Failure is failure. It feels devastating. It feels awful. And we do put that judgment and shame on ourselves. But we also got to realize the biggest lessons in life come with something that's failed. I'm going to remember something that didn't go right. And we have to accept that that's just a natural part of business. And the sooner I can fail, the sooner I've learned that lesson and I'm making progress. Because a lot of times we want to stop, pause, all my options, there's 20. Okay, I got to research all of them, find the perfect solution, create it perfectly. And it's like, no. Pick one and give it a go. And then once you find that worked or that didn't, you switch gears. Once you find something that's bringing some meaningful progress, then you go back and perfect and make it even better.
Yeah.
And we have to see that failure as just a step in getting there.
Yeah, I agree. And part of why I created my community is because it did feel very lonely, and it felt like you see all these people who are successful and you're like, well, if I run into this failure, then I'm not meant to be there. And it's like, no, they have plenty of failure building blocks along the way. And so if you can, I wanted to create a community because you see people like Sarah Blakely, and you see, I was seeing all these women who were uber successful, and they're in season 10 of their entrepreneurship journey. I don't even have my pilot out yet. And I'm trying to compare myself to them. And it's like, no, I want someone who launched their pilot and had a little bit of success and is in creation of season 1. They can be like, I remember when I went through that, because then you see yourself in their journey and you're like, maybe this is meant for me. And maybe this failure doesn't mean I am failure. It's just a lesson along the way. Someone in my mastermind said that something, this was probably 4 years ago now, that's still like always in my brain. And it's action breeds clarity. And so like you said, like if you could go and dive in and have this perfect plan, you don't see the downfalls because you haven't put anything into action yet. But as you start to put things into action, that's when you get the true clarity.
That's a great saying.
Yeah. It's ABC, action breeds clarity. It's like, it's so good. Do you have any rituals or routines that you currently use that help you kind of slow down, quiet that like hustle mindset for you?
It feels very small, but I think one that really helps is creating those startup and shutdown routines. Because I think if I end my day, whether I work outside the home or I'm working at home, I don't want to be carrying all the things I have to remember for tomorrow with me, because I want to be able to go spend time with my family and be present, give them my all. And so I think it's really, it's simple, and it almost feels too simple, but write down, where did I leave off on all the things I was working on today? What are the things I can't forget for tomorrow? And then like do that right before you check out. And we always say, like, we also encourage people to do something either physical or audible with shutdown, whether it's close your laptop or say, I'm done, and kind of create more of that, something you can internalize and triggers. Okay, I'm done with this now. And then when you come in the next morning, you have your notes, or, you know, whether you're a notebook person, whether you're digital, but you can pick up right where you're at. You didn't have to like hang on to it all so you didn't forget. It's waiting there. You can just pick up right where you left off.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why like athletes do the same thing before every game or every time they go up to bat or every time they pitch. Like there's a reason that their body and mind is connected through those things to get them in the right headspace. And yeah, very cool. So I do like to wrap up every guest episode with lightning round questions. Rena, are you ready for lightning round?
I'm ready.
All right. What is a must-read book?
X is better. It's easier than 2X. It's about business, but I think it speaks to all of your life and helps you find clarity.
Yeah, I was listening. I don't know if you listened to Jenna Kutcher's podcast at all, but she was talking about that. And the biggest thing that I took from there was like, when you want to 2X your business, there's like you said, 20 things that you could do. If you want to 10X your business, there's like 2 ways to do it. And so it cuts down on that like decision fatigue that I think that we get trapped into.
I think what it does, what I think is really impactful is to what I think we talked about at the beginning of the conversation. When we think of 2X, we think that means double the effort, just work harder, do more of what I'm already doing. But when I think of like, okay, I want to see 10 times the results, I want big impact. So that means I got to rethink everything. But which does sound like it's more difficult or whatever, but it makes you just put fresh eyes on, be like, okay, what am I doing that's actually driving impactful results and what's not? And you see where you need to lean more effort into.
What does creativity mean to you?
It means flow state. I think my brain gets it in a happy place of just flowing.
What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Pay attention to when you're feeling fear and challenge yourself to lean in instead of retreat.
Yes. I love that so much. What's something that's on your bucket list?
I want to take a very long, months-long RV trip across the country. That's
cool.
Yeah.
And what is the coolest thing that you have done in the last year or are currently working on?
I feel like this should be work related or something, but I'm like, no, it's me getting a tattoo. I've spent a lot of time and effort designing, planning, and
Very cool. That's awesome. Well, this was such a wonderful conversation. Where can the audience find you? Like, where do you enjoy showing up on the internet?
I'm on Instagram, Coach Rena, or thrive.oneteampartners. I'm also on LinkedIn, Rena Dual, and our website, oneteampartners.com, all one word.
Perfect. Well, thank you again so much for this wonderful conversation. And remember that big dreams and small steps will transform your life.
They sure will. Thank you.